Well, Margot Michio. So my name is Susan Miyagi McCormack, and I am the founder and editor-in-chief of Japan Culture NYC. Thank you so much for being a subscriber and for reading my posts and registering for today's event. So this is our third talk. I've known Yvonne for more than a decade. We met through just activities in the community here in New York City um,
Mhm.
when she was living in Connecticut. And during the pandemic, she reached out to me and we just started, she started writing some things for my website about working from home from a Japanese perspective because she
Mhm.
has about a decade of experience living in Japan and working there. And her job as a cross-cultural consultant, in her job as a cross-cultural consultant, she handles Japanese businesses and with in the areas of technology and business communication and dealing with non-Japanese companies. So when she said she was going to go to Osaka to hang out at Expo a few times a week, we thought, well, let's just share share your knowledge. So here we are, the third talk, and Yvonne, why don't you take it away and give us your presentation?
All right. Thank you so much, Susan, and welcome to our guest. I thank you for being here. So, as Susan said, I'm an old Osaka hat. It's one of my favorite places, and I'm lucky to have lived here. And Expo to me, excuse me, is a great opportunity for Osaka. It's on the world stage. It's hosting this magnificent event, and just the people have really come together to make it something extraordinary. Not just the countries coming, but the Japanese companies that are present, the government, everybody. And I think it's something that should be shared as wide and as far as possible. And we shouldn't let not being able to physically be there,
Mhm.
you know, cause us to completely miss out on this event. So this is why I do these talks. And as I said, whether one person or 1,000 come doesn't matter. It's about putting it out there and sharing. So we appreciate you being with us. And it's a very informal talk. I have tons of pictures, but I'm also I think it's best if I interact with the participants. You tell me what if you have any questions, curiosities, and I will, talk about several things and weave kind of everything together. So first, do you both have any specific questions you want to have answered or curiosities?
You too. Uh, I don't, not really. Just want to get a better understanding of what is actually taking place. And, it's just such a nice relief from what's going on here in this country.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I do agree. And that's again part of it that for all of these countries to come together and
Yeah.
kind of show the best of themselves
Mm.
um, with what's going on in the world. I think it's nice to know that we can still get together, we can still work together, we can still collaborate and show what we're doing to create a better future for society, for humanity.
Mhm.
All right.
So
So
how
yes,
many countries are participating in?
there's about 160.
Is the
And
US one of?
oh yes,
Oh,
yes, the USA Pavilion is one of the main foreign country pavilions, and it's extraordinary.
uh-huh,
It's wonderful. The Japanese pavilions, the Japanese companies or Japanese government related pavilions, or Japan country itself pavilion is really, really wonderful.
yeah.
Um, so there's the Japan pavilion, the Kansai pavilion, showcasing I think, five prefectures of this Kansai area, of course, including Osaka, Kyoto, Hyogo, Nara, and I'm forgetting one. maybe Shiga. Um, and then the larger companies, sorry, countries is how I describe them, have standalone pavilions, which are
Mhm.
just incredible structures. I mean, they must have, we're talking splendid architecture, design, and functionality. And they're not just one level. I was in the China pavilion yesterday, and it's 3 stories high.
Mhm.
Um, so it's just really incredible. And then smaller countries um, are in what they call common buildings, and there's common building A through F. And when you go inside one of those buildings, it's maybe about 12 to maybe 20 countries that have small spaces, either kind of an open air booth or an actual room. So that's how smaller countries are represented. So totally there's about 160. And today we wanted to kind of discuss a little bit about the theme of Expo, um, designing future society, designing society for future lives, or
Mhm.
something like that. I should have that straight. I mixed up future and society all
Our
the time.
future lives.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Designing society for future lives, or anyway. So, of course, it's all wonderful. These countries are here. They're promoting themselves, tourism. They're showing what's beautiful about their countries and why, yes, you should visit eventually. But the main focus is on what are they doing to create a better future for us.
Mhm.
And just some really interesting things. So I put together just a few pictures to kind of have talking points. And then probably for the last 10 minutes, I'll just open my pictures folder at thousands and just show you a few of the structures. Again, I don't know what your niece has shown you, but I have tons of pictures and just want to show you some of the pavilion structures because they're extraordinary. Okay?
Mhm. Exciting.
All right. So let me share my screen. Da, da, da,
And if
da.
you have questions along the way, feel free to interject and ask Yvonne. We don't have to wait until the end of her presentation to.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, great.
Exactly. Yes, we want this to be as interesting and as engaging as possible for you. Okay, so let me start. Okay, right. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So just yesterday, I was able to get into the Osaka Healthcare Pavilion and the Japan Pavilion. As I think I mentioned, well, I didn't mention, but r to get into Expo, you have your ticket, and I have a season pass, so I can go as often as I want. I still have to reserve because I think they're trying to control numbers or just keep track of how many people, and they don't want you all showing up at the gates at 9, so they kind of want you to reserve.
So
And then,
it's been very well attended or
oh yes, yes. I
great.
was there on opening day, which was a rainy, unseasonably cold day on April 13th, but it was packed because everybody wanted to be a part of this excitement and that history.
Mhm.
And since um, it's actually gotten busier and busier because at the beginning there was a little bit of discord about Expo. People thought maybe they're spending too much money. It's not a good
Uh-huh.
investment. But I think people are really seeing how extraordinary it is, how wonderful it is for Japan and especially Kansai and especially Osaka. So more and more people are coming, and it's rainy season now, but that does not matter because everybody is showing up and just really enjoying it. Yes, sometimes the lines are very long, But again, it's your chance to either if you're with someone to chat, have conversations or say hi to your neighbors in line. I do a lot of work on my phone when I'm waiting in line.
Mm.
But so you get into Expo with your season pass, and then you can reserve for to get into pavilions to see their exhibits. And the whole reservation system is, a little extensive, but
Is
there's
that
that
skipping a
opportunity.
line? You skip a line or you still have to wait in line?
No, basically, so for example, let's take the Japan pavilion,
Uh-huh.
actually. It's during the day until 7 p.m. It's reservation only. So for
Oh,
example, I'll go onto the Expo site, log in with my ticket ID, and for the day that I'm going to Expo, 3 days before, I'll try to get the reservation. And I open up the Japan Pavilion reservations, and it has a list of, I think, usually entrances, mostly 15-minute increments.
mm-hmm.
So, for example, if I have a reservation for 1 to 1:15, I show up at that time and I get in.
Oh,
Okay, so
that's
anybody who has that slot gets in. All right, that's how it's done. Of course, there might be 100 people with that same slot,
right.
but that line goes in very quickly first. And for the Japan Pavilion specifically, after 7 p.m. in the evening, it opens to non-reservation.
Mm.
So I didn't have a reservation. So at 7 p.m., I got online, which was super long, of course, but it moves very fast because
Uh-huh.
these exhibits are great and there's always like a flow to them and they kind of make sure that the flow is everybody's moving along with the flow. Enough time to look, take pictures, read what needs to be read, see what needs to be seen, but they do keep it moving because they do want to make sure as many people as possible can experience it.
It's pretty costly to get in though. What is the price for a ticket?
Okay, so I personally have a season ticket that I
Right.
bought. That means for the 6 months of Expo, I can go every day if I want.
Mm.
All right. And that was um on my end, 30,000 yen, which I bought it, of course, based US dollars before I came here. So it was about $200. And
Oh,
it's more than paid for itself because
yeah,
yesterday was visit number 12 for
that's
me.
great.
So basically, after the fourth one, everything's free for me. And there's the day ticket, which is 7,500 yen, and
Mm-hmm.
that gets you in morning to night again in onto the expo grounds. And then they have specials like night only from
Mm-hmm.
5 p.m. on, and that's of course a little bit more affordable. A one-off ticket, or you can also buy. They have different price points. They have
Right.
weekly, they have a week of nights or a week of all day. They do specials. For example, summer, they're doing something, they started something mid-June until end of August or end of July. So they do have a lot of different price
Mm-hmm.
points, especially with kids coming out of school soon. They're definitely having specials for that. So
Wow.
that's kind of how it goes. So there are a lot of pavilions that do not take reservations at all. So you just have to go and stand in line and take
Okay.
your chances.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Chinese pavilion was one of those, and I was in line for about an hour. And again, it moves fast because usually you're outside and people milling around. You can still look around, talk to people. So it tends to go fast. But, this is Japan, and I personally am happy. I know people complain about the long lines and the crowds, but I'm happy because it means people are really engaged and coming to Expo, which is what
And you see
we want.
a nice balance of people from different countries, or is it?
Yes, yes, I do. Actually, I was asked this very same question yesterday. Yes, I do. Of course, Japanese, they love an event,
Oh,
tons, of course, from all over. And I've seen a lot of foreigners. Um, from what I can recognize, Europeans, Americans, Indians, everybody is here,
Hmm.
young, old, able-bodied, wheelchair-bound. Everybody is excited and here. Children, there are a lot of school trips that are
Hmm.
coming. So you see like groups of anywhere from UTN students to junior high, high school,
Hmm.
and they, if a class is coming to any pavilion, they, notify ahead and they get, of course, special entry, as they should, because yes, Expo's for everybody, but I think it has special meaning for children, for Japanese children, to show them about this great big world and having all of these different countries accessible to them um, for a little time, and I think that's great to see and expand their minds and open their
Exactly.
minds to different things and just for everybody, really.
Right.
So, yes, there are a lot of foreigners here as well. And one thing I really like is the pavilion workers. Of course, they do have a lot of them have, of course, Japanese staff to help, but of course, they come from their countries. And in the pavilion, you see them. Of course, they're dressed in national garments and
Hmm.
their dress. But just to walk around Expo and see them all walking around, you'll see somebody in Saudi Arabia wearing their traditional garb. You'll see an
Hmm.
African from Kenya in full regalia, Mongolia. It's just really, really wonderful.
Yeah.
It's international. It's excitement, and yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So a little bit about the theme. One of the one of my favorite um, pavilions is Ida Group and Osaka Metropolitan University. They do a joint pavilion, and when you go in, they have this incredible model of what of a smart city of the future
Yeah.
that they're designing now, right? So, you know, hydrogen-based society, they are creating artificial photosynthesis. All this is, tech terms or
Hmm.
um, but they're just again, this is what is happening now. They're there's a move build to move away from using hard materials like brick and concrete to build to softer materials, which has a lot more flexibility, is a little bit more malleable, can be repaired um,
Hmm.
more easily, and in some cases, of course, last longer. Durability is key. And yesterday, when I went to the Japan Pavilion, they talked a lot about the Japanese aesthetic and using softer materials to
Hmm.
build, and how that is actually one of the waves of the future.
Right.
And in this particular pavilion, there was a wellness smart house, and it was just incredible. The whole house is, for lack of a better term, wired to analyze and make suggestions and manage your health, optimize your health. They have an AI doctor, a trainer, a butler, and it's just really extraordinary. There were even medical toilets where analysis is done
Uh-huh.
when you use the bathroom, and it reads and it tells you if you're deficient in something, if something is happening. And then of course, it's just incredible. So this is their model city of the future and all the different components and the research why Ito Group and Osaka Metropolitan University are together, the R&D, they're actually prototyping some of these features right now.
Mm.
So this is again a little bit more about the smart house. Can't really see, but it just again talks about all the components. And right here
Yeah.
is the smart bed. So you get in and you sleep, and what it's analyzing you, it's reading your bodily vitals,
It
you
doesn't
know.
look too comfortable.
Well, actually it is.
Uh-huh.
It's well, the outer shell, no, but the mattress, it's like a memory foam
Uh-huh.
on like a higher level. And you just get in there and it reads what's going on in your body, helps you manage your sleep, adjust for comfort, pressure points, and so forth. So it's the bed of the future.
So
Wow.
visitors are able to test it out to
Oh
watch.
yes, that's a visitor right there.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And for the smart house, you you could also go in and register and do all of the readings. It was a 40-minute line right at the smart house part of the exhibit, and I did not want to wait. But
Right.
of course, the line was long because people were really curious to experience it.
Yeah. Well, as a lifelong insomniac, maybe that bed would give me some helpful information.
All
Mm.
right. Yes, see?
Yeah. It doesn't
And
look that cozy though, that's all.
well, again, this is a pod, and there are other pavilions that also had kind of beds of the future as well. Maybe those would be a little bit more
Hmm.
comfortable, but it's the material. I did feel it. It's like memory foam but better,
Uh-huh.
right? It's
It
almost
does,
gel-like.
it does
Hmm.
look like it locks you into one
Yes,
Position,
position.
right.
yes, yes.
I sleep on my stomach, so I'm not sure if I would,
Yeah.
but
Well, when you move, it molds you. It molds to you. So it's
okay,
up to you to move.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So one of the possibilities of a bed of the future.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Another pavilion, and this one is incredible. It's called Future City, Mirai City, and it's also a joint pavilion with about eight Osaka-based or Osaka-founded companies. Um, Kawasaki, Nitera, Kobelco, and they are showing Society 5.0, which is a Japanese government term that was coined a few years ago, again, to create future society. And many different parts of it. It's a huge exhibit and it touches on many things: food production, manufacturing and urban development, waste management, or they like to call it resource recirculation. And here are just some images from it. One of my favorites is what I call the Kawasaki dog, but it's actually supposed to be a lion. It's called Corleo, and it's, individual mobility of the future. And here you have a mother and a child out in the wilds, and they can climb mountains with it. It does all the work. So it
Uh-huh.
looks like a motorcycle, but operates like maybe they should have made it a goat, like a mountain goat, can climb up and for urban dwelling as well. And of course, wind harnessing, wind technology is always,
Mhm.
very, very important for the future. And this was in the European Union, and of course, they were talking about all their um, climate change work that they're doing with green
Right.
corridors, surfaces, just electro wetlands, just a lot of the initiatives that they're currently doing and showcasing, highlighting some of them.
Yeah.
And a fun fact, I was surprised at the European Union pavilion. Well, I shouldn't have been. It's pretty wonderful, but you learned little things, and I learned that what is the national anthem of the European Union? Does anybody know by
I have
chance?
no idea.
I didn't even know they had one,
Yeah.
but that's one of the things I found out here. It's Ode to Joy by Beethoven,
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
as it should
Nice.
be.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
that's
that
a
that
little tidbit.
song.
Yeah.
And there are 24 member states, nations, and 27 languages spoken.
Hmm. Yeah, we
And
just came back from Florence, Italy, actually.
oh, lovely, lovely. Ooh, the Italian pavilion. I haven't seen the exhibit yet, but I ate there yesterday. They
Oh,
have a
wow. I was
restaurant
going
on the
to ask you
roof.
about the food. Yeah.
Oh, they have a restaurant on the roof. It's Italy. You're in New York, so you know Italy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
They have
they're the ones that
mhm.
do the restaurant at top the Italian
I haven't eaten
pavilion.
there, but yeah.
It's fabulous. And here it's fabulous. And this was actually right here in the Spanish pavilion, Spain. And again, wind power, as you know from Europe,
Mm,
I don't know if you saw, but they have a lot of these gigantic windmills in certain countries, especially Germany, where I go to,
right. Uh-huh.
because I have a brother who lives there. So there again, Spain is showing what they're doing to harness wind technology, and you can't see it in this picture, but about right here off, I cut the picture. There's a little statue of Don Quixote
Uh-huh.
going towards the windmill. So I thought
That's
that was
funny.
a
Yeah,
really
that's cute.
cute,
Yeah.
yes. And again, this is Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Their pavilion is quite exceptional as well. And talking about what they're doing in terms of wind and solar power initiatives for now, of course, and for the future.
Right.
These little tidbits are from the Osaka Healthcare Pavilion, which has two components, just generally some new technology in and around healthcare. And then they have a whole special reservation only reborn series, which the line is exceptionally long and hard to get reservations for.
Hmm.
But the pavilion has a showcase of um, I guess startup businesses that are doing some new and interesting things in healthcare. So, for example, there is a home oral care periodontal test kit because gum disease, you can tell by the state of your gums if you're prone, I think, to certain ailments. So
Hmm.
by doing this test and have the analysis, you can, notice like the first signs of heart disease, diabetes, fatty liver, dementia, oral cancer. So I thought that was really interesting. And this company is a startup that is creating this, and it's
Mm.
effective now. They're prototyping it. And then there's another right here. It's a baby Bjorn to carry your baby. It has what do you call it? It reads vital signs and also, for example, if the strap is pinching the baby, it will alert you. So it's kind of sensor based to
Uh-huh.
tell you what's happening as you carry your child. If they're in an uncomfortable position, if something is, kind
Mm.
of pinching their skin or something. So it's really interesting.
Mm.
And this skin voice system, you sit in front of this mirror and it reads your skin. So, of course, in conjunction with dermatologists, and then it uploads it, analyzes it, and tells you your skin condition and gives you, options for dealing with whatever condition you have from dry skin to rosacea or things like that. So
Interesting.
these are just some of the interesting
Hmm.
technologies in healthcare, some of the startups in the Osaka Healthcare Pavilion.
Right.
Um, this is the human washer in the future. And this was also in the pavilion. Interesting. This concept was first shown at the 1970 Expo in Osaka.
Mm.
And 50 years later, they now have a prototype. So it's supposed to not only wash your body, but also your mind and supports health management. Don't
Mm.
really know how will do
Lots
that.
of
Yeah.
mind.
I wasn't there for the demo, but it's just interested, I thought, to just go sit in there and it's a washing machine for humans.
Right. It
It's
looks like
So
a
kind
bed
of the same
almost. Yeah.
shape as the bed.
Exactly.
yeah, so I guess you kind of sit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this whole, to me, it looks like a stapler.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like Ahoshikitsune. Um, and then you sit here and it closes, and I guess you like a washing machine, and then rinse. And I don't think there's a spin cycle, which I think is good.
Uh-huh.
I like the Cento tile in the background, mosaic in the
That's
background.
very pretty. I noticed
Yes,
too. Yeah.
yes, it is lovely. Of course, backdrop of some of the not only Osaka, but of course Mount Fuji and all of
Beautiful.
that as well. All right. Next. Okay, so this is my friend Kiyomi, and this is her friend, the inventor of this device, which is called Sphere Secure. And it's kind of it's supposed to be a safety thing for like earthquakes. You would go in
Mhm.
and you wouldn't be jostled about, or you'd be safe if anything falls on you. And inside, very comfortable massage
Okay.
chair, very good massage chair.
Uh-huh. She
The
looks
pictures of
happy. Yeah.
yes, the pictures of me in it are on Kilme's phone, and she hasn't sent them yet to me. This was just yesterday. And of course, you can do a little karaoke while you're in there.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
And
because
I did.
what else are you gonna do when an
I know.
earthquake is happening?
I know, just sing some karaoke.
Pull
So I
yourself up.
certainly did that. I sung my favorite karaoke song, Mata Ahi Made, and that was fun. So this is Sphere Secure, and it's of course round, spherical, but it's also painted. I don't have the back end like a ladybug.
Oh,
Mm.
It's Tentomushi. It's so cute.
Yes.
Um, yes. And this is, like I said, the inventor, and
Ooh,
this is his
okay.
son. So
So
I'm
this is
gonna,
like really for one person in there?
yes. And to me, it's 3 million yen. It's gonna
Uh-huh.
be the price is gonna be 3 million. So I think it's going to be like, I don't know, something rich people buy and maybe not wait for an earthquake, put it out in the backyard like a mini man cave
Uh-huh.
or a mini woman cave. And we asked if there was like a little refrigerator that can be put in there, and they're like, yes. So I can see, especially men going out there with their beer and their karaoke and just
Mhm.
having some quiet time in their little sphere secure.
Cute.
And this was another company, and this is another bed of the future. When you lie down, this turquoise line reads again your vitals, and it helps with bedridden
oh,
um, patients. So it will again adjust and massage, and then it also lifts up and turns into, as you can see here, a chair. So
No.
it's kind of all in one
Right.
for people who are bedridden.
Mm.
interesting.
As they say, rise, transform, and roll into freedom.
Mm.
Mm.
Oop, that? Okay. So that's just some, let me stop sharing, of kind of the future things from some of the pavilions that I have been in so far.
Yeah, I had a
I'm a,
deja vu to the World's Fair. We live right near the Flushing Meadow
yes,
Park where
yes,
and I was at the 64, I guess, World's Fair.
really.
So I
Wow.
remember the flying cars was a thing, and the
Yes,
phones. I guess it was I don't know, AT&T, or phones where you could see the person. That was a big thing
Yeah,
yep.
back
And
then.
look at us now,
that
right?
has come true. That part has. The flying
It
car is not
definitely
yet.
has. Well, I'm going into my albums right now. Bear with me. When I went to Future City, right, it was on the far side, right close to, well, it's on a man-made island, so there's water everywhere. But in back of Future City was where they kept the flying car, and it does demonstrations during the day, but then a propeller broke not long after
Oh, no.
Expo opened, so it's just kind of
Out of
been
commission.
operational.
Yeah.
Yes, out of commission for a while. I'm just trying to find a quick picture of it if you bear with me. Please ask any questions if you have while I search for a picture.
So you used to live in Osaka? You said?
Yes.
Weren't you there in the first place?
I was a foreign exchange student at
Uh-huh.
Kansai Gaidai University in Hirakata. I did my last full year of college there, and I lived with a Japanese family.
Hmm.
And I started studying Japanese when I got to Gaidai, and then I went home briefly because I had one more semester to graduate. And then I came back on my own for also another 8.5 years, so total about 9.5 years. and just worked, taught English, tried to, make a life, create a life for myself. Didn't do as much studying as I should, so my Japanese is a little bit weaker than it should be. And then when I went home, it was a tech bubble, so I started working in technology. And right before the pandemic, I started my business. Um, and as Susan said, but I focus on technology and business communications,
Mhm.
upskilling for Japanese global companies.
Mm.
Right.
It's a hard language to learn, no?
It is, and I speak it far, far better than I will ever write it because I did not focus on
Mm.
writing. Um, but yes, it is. But it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I have so many pictures. It's taken me forever. I think Future City was visit 5.
I'm wondering
There,
if you feel like any of these inventions you saw are actually realistic for regular people to have, or if the future city is viable, is sustainable, for
I mean, mm,
like the
I
near future.
I I think so.
I
Yeah.
mean, there are
Yes.
elements of it, I guess, but yeah, the
Um,
yeah.
well, I think things like those small startups, maybe not the sphere.
Mhm.
Again, I think that's basically a tent in a way.
Yeah.
But sometimes when we think of the future of technology, we think, yes, flying cars and all of this, but it's the real small advancements that make people's lives better,
Right.
Mm,
that improves our health, improves, how we manage and recycle waste or growth. That's what's key. And that I definitely see.
Yeah.
The materials going forward that, Japan is using for a lot of building and recycling, sustainability, those efforts, I think are really, they're attainable. They're
mm,
here already in a way, and
mhm.
only will
Yeah.
get to scale as we go forward. Um,
How would you compare it to here? I mean, here and right now, it's, not really happening,
well,
it seems.
yeah, and this is my personal opinion based on the pavilions I have seen. Of course, I do a comparison, and based on what I see and what's focused on, I think there's far more advancement going on in a lot of other countries other
It's more
than,
of it's a priority there, and
yes,
where
yes,
it here, it's actually not.
yes. Thank you for saying that. I'm trying to be very diplomatic because I don't want to
Yeah.
criticize too harshly because this will be shared to a lot of people.
Oh,
But
okay, but
but based no no
we
that's
can.
fine. Yes, yes. Um, but yes, I did come to that conclusion as well. There's incredible focus on the future and development and technology. Not that there isn't in the United States, but it either is not shared or it's overshadowed by a lot of other things. And other countries are not doing that.
Right.
I
I
mean,
feel,
e-
I don't
go
know.
ahead,
I
Susan.
I feel like the government is always the one that's not military. The US military um builds things and designs things that we don't even see, or that we see 20 years after they, have
Yes,
designed.
yes, yes,
Um, so
yes.
they have all the state of
Milit
the art stuff, right? And
yes, yes.
yeah,
I
where
think that's fair, and
yeah.
that's fair. So yes, I'm sure wonderful things are happening that we don't know about. Um, but and again, the pavilions in the countries are showing it's basically propaganda for ourselves, right? Everybody's showing their best, but just from what you I don't watch US based news. I watch foreign broadcasts talking
Mhm.
about the US because I know it's more factual and
Uh,
straightforward.
right. I
Other
like
countries,
BBC. Yeah.
yes, other countries are really focused on tech improvements, infrastructure. I mean, they're driven.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you can see that in
Well, you
some,
see it just even in their trains and
yes,
yeah.
exactly. And you can also see it in their exhibitions, their displays at their pavilion.
So
Some
what is
country,
ours like? Our
no, it's also wonderful.
uh-huh.
Um, you know, and I'm very, very proud of the U.S. pavilion. It goes through, the U.S., the beautiful diversity of it, the people, the country, um, how it's about creativity and innovation. They look to the past by, the moon
Mhm.
landing and our space program. And one of the most incredible components of it is you go in one room and it's kind of like you're in the well of a rocket that's about to take off.
Mhm.
And it's just incredible. The feeling, the it really is spectacular. And of course, the US Pavilion is very popular. The day I was in line waiting to go in, because they don't take reservations, except if you want it in Japanese, there's reservations for the Japanese guided tours. I was standing in line next in front of a young student from, when I say 20s, it
Mhm.
was in his 20s, from Saudi Arabia. And he was traveling around. Of course, had been to the US. It was now in Japan and loves America and just really wanted. He's like, I'll stand in this line forever if I have to, because I want to see what the US is doing. And that's the vision of America in the world. We
So
haven't,
you don't get a lot of negative
yeah, we haven't squandered it all yet. Everybody still
you're not
wants.
boycotting our pavilion.
No, no, oh, no, no, definitely not. Because again, we're talking people, we're talking, getting together, collaborating. Governments are one thing, but when you're online trying to see this
Right.
magnificent pavilion, that's all that matters. There's interest. I mean, all the pavilions, Japanese people are very, travel focused, curious,
Mm-hmm.
most of them, and this is an opportunity in their backyard
Mhm.
to
Mm.
get a taste, to see a glimpse of what's all
Of-
these all
Yeah.
these countries, and they're loving it.
That's a
Yeah.
legitimate
Because the
question, though, Margot, to ask if there are people like avoiding the U.S. pavilion.
exactly, we're
And
not
it's nice
going
to
there. Right.
know. Yeah,
No,
it's nice to know
no,
that there is still interest in our country.
no.
And
There is
we're-
the beauty of it, and there most pavilions, the large standalone pavilions, also have a cafe or a restaurant. Um, as part of their pavilion. Some more grander, like I said, Italy with Italy on the top.
Mm.
Saudi Arabia has a really nice rooftop restaurant as well that I've yet been unable to get into because the lines are long. They don't take reservations, so you have to
Mm.
wait. Um, so the American pavilion also has a cafe, American food, French fries, salad.
Uh-huh.
And they have a courtyard and a stage. A lot of pavilions do. I know Australia does as well. They have a huge screen and a stage and places to sit in the open air, and they have different performances.
Mhm.
And I was very lucky to befriend a blues singer that came over um, with the American Pavilion for the first 2 months. They have three cohorts, the first 2 months, middle 2 months, and last 2 months of Expo. So her and probably about 15 other acts. They have Native American dancers. They
Mm.
have stilt dancers and walkers from New Orleans. They had Ruby Hayes, who's the jazz gospel blues singer.
Mhm.
They have so many different entertainments that are going on. So when you get your food in the cafe, you can either sit inside or come out in the courtyard and watch whatever performance is going on. So that's popular. And as I said, Australia has, most of them have it, but I spend most of my break time when I need a cup of coffee at
Yeah.
Australia or the US, having a coffee break. So food, you had talked about food. Again, it's very hard to get into some of these restaurants in the pavilions, the lines along Italy. I had a friend who waited 8 hours for Italy
Oh,
on a
wow.
Saturday. But again, it's Italy and everybody's coming for the food. But wisely, they have the restaurant, which is one line and long, but they have like a coffee and gelato truck.
Mm,
Not, it's not a truck, it's like a stall. And then they have a separate one, that's another line. And then they have like pizza slices and panini. So Italy has the food covered.
that's,
And in front of their pavilion, instead of flowers, landscaping, they have garden. So
mm,
kale, zucchini,
wow.
Brussels sprouts
Mm,
growing that they're going to use in
beautiful.
their restaurant. Just, I mean, that's Italy, right?
Sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Italy. So, but there's so many others that I'm looking forward to because I was a little bit spoiled. I'm just like, oh, I won't go unless I have a reservation. Um, So if I don't have a main pavilion reservation, I'd go to the common
Hmm.
buildings, which don't require reservations, the ones with a group of many small countries. But now I'm starting to wait in line because again, that's the joy of it. And the lines take a while, but that's okay. I mean,
Right.
it's part of Expo and the experience and the atmosphere. So,
And one thing
but
you
yeah,
discussed in these talks that we've had is the efficiency of the way, like you'd already mentioned that the lines move, like despite
yes,
standing in line for a long time, you don't feel like, this is insane or,
And
yeah.
it's orderly, I imagine.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And service, I mean, there are people continually, touching base with you,
Hmm.
make sure you're comfortable. And of course, with the summer heat coming and the rain, there, if you're standing in line, most pavilions have sun umbrellas you can use if you
Uh-huh.
don't have your own. Most Japanese, all Japanese and people who
Carry
live in
it. Yeah.
Japan, foreigners, know that the summer heat, the rainy season, you always have your parasol, you always have your little fan, you always have your little hankachi
Right.
to wipe your forehead. But for foreigners who are just new to Japan, if you get in line and you're waiting too long, yes, they're there with things to help you, and their fans, their misting machines,
Hmm.
and continual announcements that, if you feel anything, you're in line, immediately tell a staff, there's staff managing the line.
Hmm.
So they really care for you. And I'm, of course, writing about all my visits and but I'm going to write about just the people and the pavilion staff, fine, they're wonderful, but I'm talking about the people who keep it running,
Hmm.
the people who clean the bathrooms, manage the
Right.
garbage. And again, that's part of sustainability. Everything is very, very well
So
organized.
the bathrooms they all have bidets,
Most of them, yes, yes, because that's
right? That's what
Japan.
yeah.
They're all very good.
And they're
Um,
clean and yeah.
they're immaculate even because
Yeah.
again, this is Japan and they have an army of these incredible people to make sure the experience down to the most minute detail of
Mhm.
throwing away trash or going to the bathroom is pleasant for you and safe and healthy. And I haven't even talked about the grand ring yet. I don't know if you've seen a picture, but they built this incredible wooden ring around the main body of the expo. Of course, there's some things outside the ring,
Mhm.
but I don't know if your niece told you, but it's built with traditional Japanese joinery, so there are no nails used.
Hmm.
and it's a 2 kilometer around structure, and it's probably about 4 stories high. And every time I go, I make sure I walk around at least once. You get a great view, and it's just this extraordinary thing at night. It's a great place to stand and view everything lit up. It's and there's parts where there are flower beds and grass. So of course there's a gardener, and I've been fortunate to kind of get some backstage kind of access. So I know about a couple of landscapers who were hired by certain pavilions to do their landscaping.
Hmm.
Um, it's
Yeah.
I know of one young woman who designed one of the bathrooms,
Yeah.
kind of it's really
Such
incredible.
attention to detail, really.
Such wonderful attention to detail, and that is Japan, that is Osaka, and Expo is great and wonderful, and I think it's what comes after Expo that is
Mm.
also going to be incredible, because Osaka is now being seen for itself instead of Tokyo's younger sister. And this is just an extraordinary opportunity for the region, for the prefecture.
Yeah.
Margot, I put a link to Yvonne's blog posts in the chat if you want to take a look
Okay,
at.
sure. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we have about 8 minutes left. Thank you for your questions. I've been talking a lot, but I just wanted to show you some pictures, okay?
Sure.
So I brought up, I think, the right one. Um, okay, I
Yay.
so this was the day I went to um the future city.
Uh-huh.
So here's again the dog
Mm.
or the lion. Let me just make a little bit
Yeah.
bigger. All right, sorry about that. That one's okay. So here he is,
Right.
It's
and
kind of
I love.
longish.
Yeah, but I just automatically thought woof woof dog, and you can see it's a motorcycle. It's Kawasaki.
I was like,
Exactly right.
Yeah, it's Kawasaki.
we've,
And here's the wind hunter. A little loud.
oh, we don't hear it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
Oh, that's good.
Okay,
Uh,
so is this like a new design of windmills? Because I've seen the the windmills. I've seen windmills in Japan.
yeah, well,
That
this isn't a windmill. It's something that's it's a wind hunter. So on the open seas, it harnesses power of the wind, turns it into energy.
for
All
offshore.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. This is Kubota. Again, they were part of Future City, and this is their future
Is that a car?
machinery.
Oh, okay.
No, it's Kubota makes like earth moving equipment, right?
Yeah, construction equipment.
hmm This is about food. You can go through this whole exhibit that kind of shows you it's interactive, the future food production stages and cycle. This was interesting. This is in the World Tree, and it allowed you to become a part of the um, waste recirculation, waste management
Mm.
process. Again, interactive. It was just really cool. So you stood in front of this mirror, and they go through the cycle, and at certain points you have to, separate waste, the move of your hands, move forward in the process, and so forth. So it was just a great way to engage people in
Mm.
the
Hmm.
process of how we can better, you know, recycle,
Yeah. So
manage
is it like
waste.
easier than knowing what's combustible and what, and what is
Yeah,
flammable? And
yeah.
sometimes
Yes, but
I don't know what to put in what bin.
yes, but Japan is so far advanced of that, because now my sister also lives here, and I am staying with her. And just the garbage cycle, there is combustible day on Monday. There's pura day, which is a lot of the packaging, plastics. Then there's pet bottle day, which are basically water bottles, that kind of plastic. Then there's, of course, cans and bottles. So they're already far, far ahead
Yeah.
of the US in terms of this. I mean, and again, the grounds of Expo, there's about 10 different garbage cans in a row, each depicting what goes there with picture and, of course, words, and everything is separate. And of course, they have attendants to guide you. So
When
Japan
we
takes
were
recycling very seriously
when
and
we were
always
in
has.
Japan, I was looking for a garbage can outside. I was very surprised. There were none, because everyone takes their garbage home.
Right.
Yes, and that I was still living here when there was a an incident where um, poisonous gas was put in a trash can in Tokyo Station, the
Uh-huh.
Om Shinrikyo event. I was still living here, so from then they started with fewer and fewer and fewer trash cans. And yes, it's grown to now you should be responsible for your own waste. So yes. So
Again,
they're
we can
far ahead.
learn something, right? We
Oh yes, they're
have such
far
a
ahead.
problem with that here.
Yes.
And when you think about it, it's like there aren't trash cans on the corners in Tokyo, but or Osaka, and those cities are almost immaculate. And
And
Exactly.
in New
And you
York,
go
yeah,
out here in Flushing Meadow Park, it's what?
there's a
yes,
trash can on every corner
yes.
in New
Yeah.
York City and
And it's still,
filthy.
yes,
Um,
yes. But that's again, Japan, it's culture, it's community.
mhm.
You're a part of something, so you
Right.
want to make sure you do your part to maintain. And if that means carrying your garbage with you, you do it
But
happily without complaint. So this is another energy company.
we have a lot to learn, really.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, there's a lot that can be taken from Japan and shared with the world. Usually it's always the opposite. Like
Mhm.
I'm a consultant. I'm American and I work with Japanese companies. So a lot of the image of that is we're telling Japan what to do, be like us. No, there's also tremendous amount of things that Japan does absolutely wonderfully that they need to share more with the world. And I think it starts with this expo.
Yeah.
So again, this is just Future City. We have 2 minutes. I just want to get to the flying car because that's what I promised you. So as we exit Future City, City of Happiness, the staff, everybody wonderful. This young lad, young man, the student in an English program, so he's working at Expo.
Mm.
And as you come out of Future City right behind, here's the flying
The flying car that doesn't
car.
break.
That
Okay.
is
Yes, it did, but there was an issue with the propeller, and I'm sure they've since fixed it. But again, now it's the rainy season, so it might not be flying too much. But the dream is still alive.
maybe in July you can do a test.
Yeah,
It's called an airplane, isn't it?
It's,
yeah. So
yeah,
it's
it's like a helicopter. It's kind of cute.
yeah, or a
It's
big
kind
personal
of cute.
drone. It's like a drone,
Yeah.
a big drone. Oh, and that's me trying to get in.
Great.
So
Oh,
here's, like
there
I
it
said,
Oh,
the
is.
yes. So
mhm.
everything is clearly labeled and look how
Right.
everything's detailed.
And I see nothing on the ground.
N-
No
No,
trace.
they would not allow that. Personal mobility. So again, wheelchair bound, people who can't walk too far,
Mhm.
there are scooters available. Um, this kind of scooter, regular scooters,
Have wheels?
just yeah, they're wheels.
They just look like
And
feet.
you have your little seat belt, keep
Oh,
you safe.
It's cute.
Oh, they
Have
just
have you been, Susan, to the
No, I've not visited the expo. I've been living vicariously
Okay.
through Yvonne's visits. So, and now we're reading your email.
I know, sorry about that. I basically do these talks for Susan. All right, so we're actually a little bit over. I'm sorry to keep
No,
going on so long,
thank
but
you so
thank
much.
you.
Really, we appreciate you.
Yeah,
And
Thank you.
for joining us. It was
Y-
and for asking great questions and being engaged.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes.